Hey, can the weatherman turn the heat down? He can't. Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You are listening to the Professional Noticer. Here you and I will use common sense and all the wisdom we can muster to move beyond what is true and go all the way to the truth. With actual listeners in more than 100 countries, I'm the Professional Noticer. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me a part of your week. My purpose here today and with every show we do is to play the part of a best friend or a coach. I want to help you live the life you would live by giving you access to the greatest mentors the world has to offer today. Our sponsor this week is growingdeer.com. If you already watch Growing Deer episodes or regularly visit the growingdeer.com website, you know already why I'm a fan. Our family's fascinated by every episode, and probably because growingdeer.com is about so much more than deer. Wildlife biologist Dr. Grant Woods hosts every week's program, and the subjects range from scientific tips about providing the right crops for the does to have a high survival rate for fawns, and for the bucks to reach their antler potential. He might show how to thwart the intentions of predators that try to make a meal out of those fawns. We learn the benefits of prescribed burning, how to make jerky, and tons of other outdoor skills. Dr. Grant's wife, Tracy, as well as their daughters, Riley and Ray, make frequent appearances, and the whole operation is just a great example for us about how family can work together and play together and support each other. I really do recommend that whether you're an outdoor person or not, certainly you know an outdoor person. So turn them on to growingdeer.com. And you go check it out too. That's growingdeer.com. Observations and answers. That's what we do here on the Professional Noticer. And, I'm good at the observations part, but sometimes I struggle with the answers part. And that's why I surround myself with people like our guest today. I'm so excited about this because this is an opportunity that you probably haven't had, and I'll explain that in a minute. But please welcome Dr. Barb Rembiesa from ITAM.org. Hey, Barb.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm so great. But before we ever get started, before I ever tell anybody anything else about you, tell us what ITAM stands for, and just briefly explain the name.
It's International Association of Information Technology Asset Managers Incorporated.
Thank you. Now, I don't know how many people are like me. I mean, I listen to that and I go, oh my gosh, I lost Joan International, But Dr. Barb and I have been friends for a while. She is one of the people I most admire in this world. And there was a time where Barb came to our house. The first time she came to our house, I told the boys, the boys have grown up, Austin and Adam have grown up being around, pretty neat people. And sometimes, you can tend, if you're a kid, you can tend to take that for granted, right? I remember Barb, we were at Dave Ramsey's house one time, just cooking out, and Adam had been throwing the football with Dave Ramsey, and 2 or 3 days later, we're walking through Walmart, and Adam goes, Dad. And I said, what? He's pointing to this place. He said, Mr. Dave is on a book. And I'm like, well, yes, he is. I mean, it never occurred to me to tell him, what Dave did, and it didn't occur to him to care. And so when Barb was coming over to eat, I told the boys, I said, now look, you make sure you're kind of set to be here for dinner, because having her here and being able just to listen, I said, I think you'll be amazed. And so let me tell everybody why I think it is amazing to have Barb as our guest. There are many people who have been successful. There are many people who have been the most successful person in an industry. There are very few people you will meet who created an industry. And Dr. Barb Rembiesa created an industry Now, we'll go back to talking a little bit about how this started, Barb, but explain what this bunch does, what these people that you train, explain what they do for companies.
So we manage the technology for corporations. If you think of when technology came into corporations, many organizations didn't know how to manage it. You had executives, they didn't speak technology, and the technologists didn't speak executives. All they did was throw money into a black hole. They just wanted it to work. Technology came up very fast. I often call it the baby of business.
Right.
Yet without technology, there's not a business in the world today that will exist without technology. But we really weren't managing the technology as our business. So we help train companies to manage that from a business side. So we help with the negotiation of contracts. We help with documentation retention, navigating the laws and legislation around technology, just every aspect of technology and how it affects your business, and then bringing back a return on investment with that technology. We've been able to save billions worldwide. We're in 126 countries now. So it's really exciting.
Do you mind going back to just some of your earlier days, just to how this began? Because I know how you lived early on. You were a single mom of little kids. Mm-hmm. And so you worked at this particular company, a large company, and they were you kind of filed stuff, or you did stuff on their computers and all of a sudden they got sued, right?
I did consulting, and would kind of do system building, help them with their networks. And then all of a sudden they did get sued. Business software.
And the CEO is like facing going to prison, and he didn't even know why.
Exactly. There is nothing in the license agreement of software contracts that tell them what they need to do or what they need to keep. So
now what had they done? What had they done wrong?
They really hadn't done anything wrong, because there was nothing in there to tell them what they needed to do. And that's where I really struggled. It was like driving down a street without a speed limit sign and then getting a ticket.
Right. Okay.
And that's where ITAM began, in the compliance side. So I figured if you tell people the right thing to do, most people would try to do it. So we told them what they needed to keep as far as their documentation. We told them how they needed to use the licenses. So we really started on the compliance side. And our first class, the software asset management class, really showed companies how to manage their software licenses. And that started saving companies from these compliance audits that were happening.
Because that's what they had been sued for, right? Is they had bought a license from a company and then shared it with several cubicles. That's a simple way.
That would be a simple way.
I'm saying it, yeah.
A computer, and it was a computer. It had original equipment on there, and then say you got rid of that computer, but you put that license on another one, and maybe that particular license wasn't able to transfer. Okay. Or something simple as you used your license as an upgrade, legal, but then you threw the documentation away, not realizing that you needed to keep your documentation. There were many companies that would merge and not realize that they needed to actually transfer ownership. So there was a lot of legal red tape that they didn't know that they needed to go through. And it's not really that they were doing anything wrong. They just didn't know what they didn't know. And
so at this point, you're this little lady living in an apartment, and the attorneys, they didn't really understand it, and the CEO didn't understand it, and I love the line that you used that you told the other people that was kind of the deciding factor? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Which one?
It's the line, and
There's a lot of lines that I've used.
I know, but I tell people this because I think this is one of the most brilliant things, because you swung the whole thing when you told the other side, you can't sue, because they were suing everybody, right? And nobody knew what they had done wrong. And so, so Barb said to the other side, she said, you can't sue everybody forever. At some point, you're going to have to educate, not litigate.
They don't litigate. That was our first tagline at ITAM. We had it on the cuff. We had it embroidered on all the cuffs of our shirts. It was educate, don't litigate.
Wow. I see, that's, to me, it's such a common sense thing. And you were able to understand it, and you created a curriculum to train other, because at first it was just you. They were just wanting you to do everything. And so you created, and just make sure I'm getting this story right, you created the curriculum, correct?
Yeah.
And copyrighted it. And
now we have 7 certifications, and those go towards credits for our master's program at different universities. So we're really excited about that. We've taken careers from people making, $30,000, and now they're making $200,000, and saving companies billions of dollars around the world. And, it's just an exciting time. We've been around 18 years, going on 19. So I started when I was 2.
One of the most amazing things to me, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, there's nothing anybody can do about it anyway, but you are the only game in town.
Yeah.
When it comes to teaching this, you own the copyrights to how this is taught. ITAM is the only degree somebody can get in this. That's the only.
Correct. Yeah, we're the only certification, and we're the only master's program available. And there's consulting companies now. There's hundreds, thousands of companies that have popped up either in the disposal industry or in the consultancy companies that have come about helping companies with their IT asset management. So
right.
It's very exciting to see all the companies that have popped up because of this. And
now I remember sitting with you one time, and one of my clients was having an issue, and I just got the text while you and Dan and I were sitting in a booth at a restaurant, and I looked and I said, Barb, is so-and-so, I mentioned my clients, I said, are they a client of yours? And you said, I'm not really sure. And I said, well, they sure need to be a client. And then you messed with your phone a little bit, and you handed it to me and said, here, this is in alphabetical order. You can check and see if they're a client. And I started going through there, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And so then I started asking questions about your clients. If you don't mind, tell us a few of the clients on that list.
Oh, they're out on our website. We have NASA. I've been out on the space shuttle, so that was very
NASA.
We have NATO. Then you have all the software companies: Microsoft, Oracle, Google, Walmart. Any company really that you name, we have is really a member, or has done training with us anywhere in the world. Right now, something that's really exciting just kind of happened today, so I'll share that with you.
Okay.
And talk about a tight-knit group. Our conference is coming up in September. Right. Of course, we're doing it virtual because of the COVID-19, and been trying to figure out, charity and that serving is very big, and that from being around me quite a bit.
Right.
I sent out a thing and said, okay, if you give something to COVID relief or some kind of charity, we'll give you a pass. And I threw in a class as well, because at the beginning of COVID in March, we gave away a CMAM course to help companies navigate the work at home. And
Wow.
something we're able to do because, if companies can navigate the work at home, they're going to be more successful in the long run. So now they're starting to come back from the work at home. So we're going to give them a ITAM course because they're going to have all this equipment coming back and they're not going to know what to do with it. So I said, but give a charity, give something to charity. Andy, I got to tell you, all around the world, we have been getting hit with emails all day long. Everything from thousands of dollars to charity to one guy who's been laid off, and I'm going to get been laid off for quite a while. And all he had to give was 3 used t-shirts. And he went and gave them to United Way, and he took a picture and he sent it to us and said, is it okay? Is this enough for me to give? Can I take the course?
Wow.
And we've had everything in between, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people around the world from all these huge companies, from states of California, from different utilities, from manufacturing, from financial, any industry that you can think of out there pitching in. And it was a matter of minutes. I mean, it's such an incredible group we have in our industry.
It really is. I mean, I can verify that personally, and I've been around not only you and your family, but have been around your organization quite a while, and there's nobody I'm prouder of. I'll just tell you, and I know your heart for people who are having a tough time, because when you started this, it was like one of the toughest times anybody can ever have. And so, I mean, what do you think now when you look at this, and when you see somebody in what they might consider just an unsolvable situation?
Wow. Everything's solvable. Oh wow. That's hitting a chord right there. Looking back, some of the times I've been through, we were in the military at one point doing laundry in the bathtub. We didn't have a lot. But man, those were some of the best times in my life too, because you learn so much during those times, and it prepares you for later on. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. I shared with you my little motto right now. At different points of my life, I've had different little sayings, and I think
Right.
you've written on your office.
Yeah, I put them on my office wall.
And but mine right now is my nothing is somebody else's everything. For me to make a phone call is nothing for me, but it may mean something. A computer for a child at a school, or or helping somebody find a job, or it's nothing for me to do a phone call. But somebody else's nothing may be my everything. Some time or something else. So if people would keep that in mind, I think we could get through a lot easier day to day. So I just live by different little quotes like that.
I'm so proud of. I watch you, and Polly and I talk about how much the boys love you, and it is. You pay attention to who your boys think is great, because it reveals a lot about them. And I'm so proud of what you do with who you have become. I'm so proud of how you use the the blessings that you have. You use the things you figured out. You use the financial blessings that have happened. There was a point when. How did you find out about this school system in Kentucky a couple or 3 years ago? I just remember calling, and you were in a truck. I mean, you and Dan were driving a massive truck. Just tell that story. That's pretty amazing to me.
So I've always had a charitable heart, if you will. Even when my kids were little and we didn't have a lot. If we did something, I didn't know it at the time until I read your books. Okay. So I've always kind of been a noticer, if you will.
Right.
But if I would take them out, I would say we went out to eat, and I would say, okay, and I would have them pick somebody in the restaurant. I'd say, okay, pick somebody. And we would buy their dinner and make a game out of it and sneak out of the restaurant because I didn't want them to know that we bought it. So I've always kept an ear out for things we could do.
Right.
And I try to do that on a daily basis. Watching for cues, watching for different facial expressions, different body language. There was a guy this morning when I picked up my car, and he had a Vietnam vet hat on, older gentleman, and he was kind of looking at the bill, and I could tell he was kind of, just kind of upset about it. And I told my guy, who I'm had for many, many years, I said, just take my card and make sure you pay for it. And he wrote me later on, and the guy didn't have enough money to get his car going and really didn't know how he was going to pay for it, but it was the expression on his face. The one in Kentucky, I actually overheard a phone call with Dan, and it was his brother-in-law asking for a donation that they go on this, they go down there with the church every summer and kind of fix up people's houses and work at the school and things like that. And that turned into something a lot more, because I never kind of do things little, and we were able.
That is something I've noticed about you.
Yeah. Go overboard all the time, but we were able to get computers for every child in the community, which has really helped during this COVID, because it's kept their education going. And it's also helped during the winter when they couldn't get to the school. So, it's
and this was a county that's like steeped in poverty.
Yes, absolutely. And we also filled up their food bank, which is the truck that we took down there. We filled up the food bank and computers and smart boards and a few other things. And again, that was donations from the ITAM community. I mean, it wasn't me doing it. It was my nothing to put out the phone calls.
Right.
But it was everything to them. It really wasn't anything. I didn't do anything other than make a few phone calls.
Right.
So,
well, this is kind of the same ground here I'm plowing, but there's something that is very, very interesting to me about you. And I think that people would really get a kick out of this, but they're going to have to get an explanation to really understand this. And I get into a conversation with you about this every time I'm up in Ohio. Every time I'm up there with you, I get in a conversation about this because I'm fascinated about this. But as I'm talking to our audience, now you understand, as you look at Barb, this is a lady who literally, her clients are the United Nations, Sony, it's everybody, right? I mean, you think about a computer-oriented organization, and her clients are Google, Facebook, Twitter. It's just amazing to me. And so you can imagine the resources that Barb has in people, and yet, Barb, you are a coupon person. All right. Now, when I say this, the reason that I say I don't want everybody to go, oh, okay, yeah, she does so she's cheap. She gets coupons at store. No, 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 no. This is nothing like I have ever even. I still don't understand it. But I took a video of you one day up at the office, and I was saying, so Barb, you got this stuff for free. You got the, and I show this every now and then. Polly and I will show it to somebody, and Polly and I, we still don't get it. But you get crates of stuff and give it to women's and men's shelters. And so if you can try to explain it to me again, how you do this, because I'm telling you, I went in and there's like diapers to fill a room. It's like paper towels to fill a room, shampoo, pillows. Every time I see that area, I always think of that chapter in The Traveler's Gift where David ponders with Gabriel in that room that has everything. That's Barb. Oh, Barb's been couponing here. So explain how this works, because I still don't get it.
Actually, that room is pretty empty at this moment after COVID. So I do like to extreme coupon. It is a challenge. I like anything that's a challenge, and challenges my mind. And that's kind of where it started. My mom used to get a kick out of it. And she would like to go with me and see how much I could get and how much money I would get back. So it was kind of fun for us to do it. And I would give it to the domestic violence shelter and the men's shelter. And then it got bigger. And of course, I don't do anything small, so it got bigger. And when the men would graduate from the men's shelter and they would get their own apartment, I would supply all their appliances for their house, their pots, pans, cooking utensils, all that kitchen items.
Right.
And bedding, the domestic violence shelter, the diapers, the toilet paper, the paper towels, shampoo, any kind of hygiene.
But you're not paying money for this stuff.
No. And I would do classes down there to teach them how to do it. So when they would get out of the shelters, they would be able to support themselves and be able to go and get what they needed at a minimum cost so that they could support themselves. I remember not being able to afford formula and being able, having to do laundry in the bathtub. And, that's a hard place to be in. And it doesn't matter where you're at in life, having those skills and learning that and being able to pass them on is a good give back. You got to give that back once you learn it. Because if you
but give me just like an overview, because I think of coupons as like, oh, I cut this out of the paper and I get 20 cents off my paper towels when I go to the grocery store, and yet you're bringing in crates of this stuff.
I would go on the weekends and get anywhere from $1,500 to $1,800 worth of stuff and maybe get back $40, $50, maybe $100 sometimes. And then I would use that the next week to get more stuff. And then
where are these coupons? What is this?
You stack, there's different ways to do it. We could do a whole show on it if you like.
I know we're going to have to sometime, because it sounds like online gambling or something to me. It's like unbelievable. It's like, here, press this button, and if it comes up sevens, you get toilet paper.
During COVID, I was able to give back or give to our local, it's called Pathways here. I was able to give them 25,000 diapers for foster care. And so that was really a blessing for moms who couldn't take their babies home because of COVID, and they had to get into foster care right away. So, that was truly a blessing. Or, seniors that couldn't find toilet paper or or hand sanitizer or the wipes or anything like that at the nursing homes around here. I was able to give back, hundreds and hundreds of canisters of that type of stuff. So I work with the county, and they were, the face mask or anything like that. I was able to work with them and get it to where it needed to go. So
I have an idea that people are gonna just like come unglued when they hear this, and they're gonna say, "You have to have her back to do a show on this." So will you?
Oh, I will.
Okay, all right. Because there's so many people. Because Polly Polly works with a charity here, and she says, "I wish I understood that," because they struggle with this kind of stuff, and so. But I don't know if we're just like too dumb or something. But
Not at all.
you are amazing. Now, before we go, how do? See, I'm always thrilled about ITAM. You sponsor the Professional Noticer many times, and I'm always honored and thrilled to spread the word about this because it's such an unbelievable way that people can. I mean, you hear about people going to college now and they can't get a job. There's almost like what is the percentage of employment with people who get your certification? Or it's sky high, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's very few not working in our profession right now. And as a matter of fact, the help wanted outweighs the people that are looking for work. So we are certifying somewhere in the world on a daily basis.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So people can check you out by going to itam.org. So, and we will provide a link to that on the podcast, so you'll see all that. And how can I help you, Barb?
Oh, you help me every day, Andy.
Well, gosh, I appreciate you saying that, but there are some people that I just think, God has put in front of me and made sure I pay attention here, and I'm just honored to be your buddy, and I'm so proud of you. And Polly and the boys send their love.
The feeling's mutual, and I send my love to them, and so does Dan.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Andy Andrews, the Professional Noticer, harnessing common sense and wisdom to plow through challenges all the way to an answer for you. Hey, quick question. Where do you seek wisdom? Have you checked out wisdomharbor.com? That's wisdom, HARBOUR.com. Go there now and get your free month and check it out. It's unbelievable. Do this, become a member for your business, for your family, and your schools. Wisdomharbor.com. And I think that'll do it for this week. Get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing the mental energy I have, tiny bit, though it may be, for you. Seeking wisdom, making observations, and endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, smile while you talk, even behind that mask. Don't breathe anybody else's air, and make sure you have a positive answer to the question, how's it going? And so, until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Limpert. The Noticer theme written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Hors d'oeuvres provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. Additional financial consideration provided by TheThingsSoNiceWeNamedItTwice.com. At TheThingsSoNiceWeNamedItTwice.com, we're raising awareness about all things named the same way 2 times. Sure, you've probably tasted one of the green and yellow fat four-headed fish hanging on the wall. Actually, that's a mahi-mahi. Did you know that mahi literally translates to the Polynesian word strong? That's right. The fish is in reality a strong. Perhaps the tradition is common among the Polynesian people because the islanders decided that one South Pacific location was so nice they named it Bora Bora. But did you know, before it was called Bora Bora, it was actually called Pora Pora, meaning firstborn? Yeah, we didn't know that either. But you might have known about the city so nice we named it twice, New York, New York. Yes, our world's real-life Gotham City, home to the Yankees, is in fact a beautiful place. Beautiful as long as you avoid the cold during the winter, the brutal heat during the summer, the air year-round. Forget about driving a car because of the traffic. Watch for the rats on the subway, and remember the heat. Don't bother bringing your bathing suit. In the summer, the beaches are, not so nice. But head on over to our website and see the full list you don't want to miss. That's the things so nice we named them twice.com.